When the term Ancient Greek was created, the term Ancient Greek is not ancient. It did not exist at all in antiquity. And, to your surprise, not even in the Middle Ages, nor even in early humanism. Until the end of the 18th century, the language of Homer, Plato, or Aristotle was simply called Hellenic, or the language of the classical authors. There was no strict division into Ancient Greek, Medieval Greek, Modern Greek. This division emerged in the 19th century, mainly after 1830, as a product of the creation of the modern Greek state, the rise of German classical philology, and the need for scientific and ideological categorization. Ancient Greek is, therefore, a modern academic construct, not a historical reality experienced as such. Listen carefully once more. After the creation of the Greek state, 1830, a national identity narrative needed to be built. This required direct continuity from antiquity to the new state. The result? The ideological division was created. Ancient Greek, glorious; modern Greek, degenerate, according to the elite. Why Ancient Greek was needed after 1830. After Greece's independence, a direct identity line had to be constructed, from classical antiquity to the modern nation-state. But at the same time, the popular spoken Greek was very far from the language of the classical texts. The solution was artificial, yet functional. The language of the classical authors was elevated as Ancient Greek. It was separated from the ecclesiastical Greek of the 1800s and was established as the standard of prestige, authority, and origin. So, this division is not merely linguistic, it is ideological, political, methodological. However, a bit later, the term pre-Greek also appears. How and why the term pre-Greek was created. The term pre-Greek was created by 19th to 20th century philology, mainly to designate words in Greek that could not be explained either by Indo-European or by Greek itself. Words that make even so-called ancient Greek itself look like a mixed salad. Instead of saying, "We don't know yet," or "This comes from a wider Illyrian or Balkan aerial," science chose a label. Pre-Greek equals something that was there before Greek, but O without a name, O without a subject, O without continuity. This word does not explain, it suspends the problem. What does the label pre-Greek actually hide? In practice, pre-Greek means this word is very old, it does not fit well into the IE framework, and we don't know how to connect it without risking the existing model of the label Ancient Greek. But it doesn't say from whom it came, it doesn't say how it was transmitted, and above all, it is not allowed to be seriously compared with neighboring living languages like Albanian. Thus, pre-Greek becomes not an opening, but a methodological closure. In the previous video, we explained that when science closes methodology, it no longer looks like science, but like dogma in the clothing of science. So we have the creation of an artificial chronology. The problem of artificial chronology. One of the main mechanisms for closing hypotheses is artificial chronology. The logic is this: if a word is documented early in so-called ancient Greek, and another language is documented later, then ancient Greek has absolute priority. But this is a methodological error. Here we have, early documentation is not equal to absolute origin. A language can be very old, yet undocumented in writing, and preserve archaic semantic structures. It is dismissed, not taken into account, and its study is forbidden. The chronology of texts is not the chronology of ideas, nor of concepts, nor of languages as spoken systems. The chronology of texts is the fence that science erects. And when science erects fences, it turns into dogma in the uniform of science. How real aerial hypotheses are now closed. When combined, ancient Greek as absolute authority, the term pre-Greek as a suspension label, and artificial chronology as an insurmountable fence, the result is this. Every Balkan aerial hypothesis is closed before it is opened. Every structural comparison of words and etymology is declared a coincidence. And every language without classical prestige, like the prestige of terminology invented in the 19th century, is reduced to a passive and non-professional role. This is not neutral science. It is a working model frozen in time. Conclusion: re-examining these terms does not deny Greek, does not invent imaginary sources, and does not create a new dogma. It simply restores a fundamental principle. Science does not have the right to exclude possibilities just because they do not fit the existing model created in the 19th and 20th centuries. And precisely here begins the real work. The dogma created in the 20th century must be stripped of its scientific clothing. Only then can science be called science.